When the night falls and the winds get loud, and I can't see past the weight of the clouds, I remember who holds every tear. I take a breath and live without fear. Been through trials, fire and pain, but his promise cuts through the rain. I don't need to have all the control. I got peace that anchors my soul. I won't break, I won't run. My battle's already been won. He's my light, always near. That's how I live without fear. I won't fold, I won't hide. He's the strength I keep inside. Storm may come, I persevere. 'Cause I live, yeah, I live without fear. People talk, they throw their stones, but grace reminds me I'm not alone. I don't need to prove a thing. I'm walking with the King of Kings. This world shakes and tries to shake me, but I stand firm, faith won't break me. Every shadow's got to disappear. When God is close, I live without fear. I won't break, I won't run. My battle's already been won. He's my light, always near. That's how I live without fear. I won't fold, I won't hide. He's the strength I keep inside. Storm may come, I persevere. 'Cause I live, yeah, I live without fear. It's not about being perfect. It's about trusting the one who is. Even in the valley, he's still God. I won't break, I won't run. My battle's already been won. He's my guide, always near. That's why I live without fear. I won't fold, I won't hide. He's the truth I hold inside. Let the world know I'm still here, standing strong, living without fear. Faith over fear, always.
Amen. Praise God. Greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and if my mind is accurate, I think it's Thursday. Earlier, I was off a day, but it's Thursday night. I'm doing the stream, starting at a little bit later than usual, so, some of the feedback, it seems, maybe I should start later, but sincerely, to all of you, praise God. Thank you to all of you who may tune in, may join me and us tonight. I do hope to share some fun together. I do appreciate anyone who finds these words because, man, this life is crazy sauce, man. Happy Thursday to everyone. Thank you for confirming with me, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights and Frank Monday. Jack is back, y'all. I don't think it is OTW singing. I don't think it is. Smoke and mirrors, yes. Live without fear. And you know what? Yes. Let's remember that one. I want to save that one. Let's hit the like button. Share what can be shared because tonight, well, I got some updates. I proclaimed some pretty big goals again, and well, I'm not here, there's not news of Jack achieving success just yet, but you know what, in the background of today with the time together and always with me is this feeling, this idea of delight in the Lord, because truly, why not, man? It feels better to delight in something than nothing. And, running with some ideas, Deep Thoughts Thursday. That's actually what I'm hoping we can do today is some deep thoughts and some real in-depth conversations. But this idea, it's true. Sometimes you have to be honest with yourself. You got to say what's real. I'm not loved here. I'm not appreciated. I'm not valued. I'm not seen. And if all those things are true, walk away. Walk away and see what you find. You know what? These words on this, these were not mine, but I've lived this countless times. And I'll tell you what, early in my transformation, after checking myself into detox and, learning, learning how to start recovering myself, the path is honesty. And you got to be honest with yourself. I came to a conclusion a long time ago. Came to a conclusion a long time ago that I'd rather be alone than to be with those who do not value me. I would rather be alone than spend time with those who don't appreciate me. Now, I made that choice to myself a long time ago, and yet, if you're aware of the lore, the Talcott lore, you see that Jack still brings around people who don't actually appreciate him. But I guess it's a little bit different because I'm allowing them into my house. I don't tend to go to places. Regardless, life is a progress. Life is a progress. It's a continuing story and a saga that keeps going on. So never be afraid to walk away. If you find your current situation, I'm hesitant to say it, but it's true, your relationships, your jobs, your career, if there is not value, appreciation, and care there for you, you got to ask yourself, what are you doing? What am I doing? Don't be afraid to walk away when there's no value, appreciation, or care there. Subjecting yourself to good enough, right? Making excuses for less than desirable situations or relationships, settling for good enough often results in these codependent relationships. They're very unhealthy and they limit both parties. So, and I'm speaking from experience here, all right? So do with it what you want. Subjecting yourself to good enough, it prevents greater from emerging in your own experiences. I mean, and if you ever spend the time to stop and think, if I wasn't doing this, that I'm just kind of going through the motions with, if I wasn't doing this with my time, what else could I be doing? See, because life is infinite. But the world creates all these limits and all these rules and all these ideas that you better obey, you better follow. And I used to drive myself insane trying to know everybody's rules and follow everybody's rules so I didn't make anybody upset. And I drove myself nuts. It feels good not to care. And it seems counterintuitive to claim to love but not care. It really is the definition of unconditional love. You can love without worry. You can love without understanding. Okay, a lot of people do. They fall in love with all sorts of things that they really don't understand. Drugs, alcohol, politics, gambling. People fall in love with the silliest things. I think that's what the God is doing, man. God and the angels and the demons, they're just having fun. They're just watching life happen and seeing what's what. I mean, you never know what's going to happen until you see, right? So maybe that's what God's doing with you and me. Brought us to life to see what we might do with our time here on earth. I spent a lot of years of my life, admittedly, shamefully, wasting my time. addicted to television shows, addicted to video games, addicted to numbing myself, right? I was an alcoholic for years. That's not healthy. It's not wise. It's not productive. I was just waiting till I had to go to work, waiting till the weekend, waiting till vacation, waiting till this, waiting. I wasn't living. I was waiting. And in the meantime, I was miserable. I was praying to die. Now that I say that, God has not answered very many of my prayers. I mean, I've received things I didn't think to ask for, and I have been blessed, man, beyond my wildest dreams already. But the things I've prayed for, not yet. Maybe there's been some, but not the big ones. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of talking to myself again here. I'll drop the link so I'm not just talking to myself again, but I didn't make a lot of notes. The updates, right? The past couple of days, I got bold in my head and I made some pretty bold claims. I said I had a goal publicly, said it to the world that I believe that we could find a way to share Independence Day. America could find a way to share independence with the rest of the world. Independence from the international banking debts and all the corporate warfare and military warfare and all the espionage and mind control and the toxic programming and experimentation that's being done on all of us in America. So I made the big claims that I thought it was possible to speak with Donald Trump and the men and the leadership of Congress by tomorrow, Independence Day. I kind of lost some of my excitement, and my faith in the timing has settled. Okay, maybe July 4th was a little ambitious, but whatever, man. What needs to be done needs to be done. If it's not by tomorrow, I'm going to keep on working on it. Eco Flamio, God bless you, my brother. No shame on God. God is listening to Jack Talcott. God just knows better than Jack. That's been proven to me. God knows far more than Jack has been allowed to find. But think of that. It's what a good father would do. Always be there with me, always at my side, watching, paying attention, listening to everything. That father just has all the answers. It's got everything, but it's only brought forth at the right time. See, there's something special and unique about time. Don't waste it, okay? It's precious. Your time is your life. My time is my life. In the past, I really didn't care about my life, and I really didn't care about how I spent my time. But you know what helped me feel better? When I started to care. When I started to care about how I was using my time, because it's really God's time that's been given to me. All things in my mind, my heart, from everything I've learned, okay? Let me just be simple with that. I can explain this in so many different perspectives, so many different ways. It all points back to the same thing. It's truly through God that all things come into being. You and I have emerged into life, and we're animated through the day because God thought it was a good idea for you and I to be here on earth at this time. And that used to bother me a lot because I paid attention to the news. I paid attention to politics and economics, and I was kind of pissed off. If there was a God, Oh, I was pissed. Why am I here? This is ridiculous. I should have never been born. I don't need to be here. I remember all that. Today, I feel so grateful to open my eyes each morning. Where I am, where I've been. Guys, it wasn't until 2018, so that's what, 7 years ago, 7.5 years ago. I'm kind of an old dude now. I mean, I'll be 52. Holy crap. I'll be 52 at the end of this month. So it wasn't until 7.5 years ago, though, that I made a choice to make a change. And the Jack Talcott story is still getting written. I made a choice to make a change in my life, and I set the goal for myself, not in the world, but I set a goal for myself that I wanted to become a better man because I did not appreciate the man who I had become. I want everyone, if you hear these words, ask them to yourself. Do you appreciate the man or the woman that you have become? Do you judge yourself? Do you hate yourself? I used to do that, and it's misery, man. It's misery. Love. There is a gateway to love like you may not have ever imagined or experienced. I have experienced a love that I had never ever imagined before in my life. And this love emerges. It emerges from within, and it just like overpowers everything. Next thing you know, you got tears rolling down your face, and you just over it. You're out of the world. That love is there. It's like the nectar of the gods for real. Love. Love is the divine, holy power that can create you or destroy you. Okay? I know God as love, so I practice walking with love in my mind. Now, there's people that like to challenge us and test us. Sorry, turning off the alerts. People that like to challenge us and test us, of course. Many of those challengers, those people who like to test our ability to have joy and happiness, those people who test us, they're suffering, they're hurting. That's why they're sharing hurt and suffering. They want to shame others because they feel shame. They want you to feel guilty because they feel guilt. See, there's just like one mind in all of us, and it's just shown through each of us. We're just reflections. We're energetic light beings who have been condensed into physical form with the atomic and biological structures. It's pretty ingenious, man, if you stop and think about it. The way life comes together, soil and water and air and fire, and somehow we're alive. Holy crap. I used to take that for granted. Rose, if you're talking about me, yeah, I just had a taste. And I want more. New Orleans is a cool place. And you know what? Here, I'm going to go ahead and there we go. I like that comment too. Master Carpenter. Success doesn't come in the form of cash. It comes from within. There's another thumbnail or another image I was going to post, and it was along the lines of defining success as the full-hearted effort. You put your full effort into what your heart has passion for, and you go after what your heart wants, And yes, you achieve success because your heart decides, right? Your heart is the truth. In your heart is the truth. But the voices in our minds, the narrators in our heads, man, they tell some. If your voices is anything like mine, my voice used to be real cruel to me. But I know everyone's is different. I know everyone's is different because voices are just memories, memories and ideas, memories and ideas. Every one of us is carrying around ideas of what we think we are, what we think the world is. Every one of us is also carrying around memories, right? The stuff that was told to us this morning, the stuff we didn't want to forget from childhood, right? We're carrying around memories and ideas. The memories and ideas can actually distract you from what you're doing. I find I've been practicing mindfulness since I chose to change me and chose to change my life. And mindfulness is simply the practice of using your awareness, right? The focus of your mind, what you're focusing on, using that and paying attention to what you're paying attention to. Being mindful and aware of what is in your mind. That's the key to inner peace. Because if you're not watching and deciding what stays in your mind, what leaves your mind, if you're not paying attention, well, the devil of thoughts will take over. The devil is the demeaning one, right? It's the cruel one. It's the punishing one. It's the accuser. The devil, the concept of the devil, it's real, right? All this stuff is real at different and varying levels. It's the paradox of this life we have been given. Brothers and sisters, humanity has been doing it wrong for a long time. And I suggest all of us are here to clean up the messes. See, because the world condition of today, who you are, who I am, who Donald Trump is, who everybody is a result of the environment and the life we've been living. Well, we were born into, one could say, the devil's world, the devil's playground, where men and women fight against each other to rule over others, creating hell on earth, where men and women are starving and dying every single day unnecessarily. I'm doing better. I'm not getting so angry about this stuff. I'm even saying it in a nice way. See, I am improving. I'm kind of proud of myself. God bless us all. I took my mind off track. Hey, a couple of things here. Where'd it go? A couple of things here. How many voices are up there? These days, it's mostly silent. This is the key. Once you start paying attention to the thoughts and you reconcile your arguments and your worries, and you have no problems, and you have no enemies, and you have no guilt, and you have no shame, at least not as far as you can remember, your mind is silent and still. And in the stillness and in the silence, that's where the heart sings. The Holy Spirit doesn't sing to me, but it brings up these ideas that make me want to sing. So here, where I was going with that, a few more have joined. So please, for those who are willing, share the like, invite others. The Talcott guy, man, something's going on here. And for those who do wish to join, feel free. I don't anticipate a real long stream today, though. And I'm sorry if people, I haven't been paying real close attention to the chat. But if I miss something, please feel free to drop it up. What good is an imaginary friend without an imaginary enemy? That's an interesting question, and something I was considering earlier, right? Growing up, seriously, grew up out in the woods, and there wasn't a lot of kids around. But when we did play, I remember playing cowboys and Indians and soldiers. If I remember right, some derogatory terms related to Vietnam, and 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 so as children, we were playing war, pretending enemies. What if instead of that, we teach our children that yes, there are some people who are different and they may even want to harm you, but the differences can be overcome. And as long as you're wise, you don't need to worry about harm. And when you don't have to worry about harm, who is your enemy? We live in peace. And I know that wasn't the intent of your comment. I'm not, it just got my mind going. It's an interesting one. This was said to me a long time ago, and there's a level of truth to this. I attended a book study. I don't think I have a copy. There's a book I found. It's called How to Become a Christ. And it was written by a man who said he achieved Christ consciousness and awareness, and he was trying to explain it, trying to teach others. And I actually found a book study. The man's daughter was in my hometown. See, this life I'm living, there's been these paths and steps that just everything brought me to where I am. Proclaiming Christ as my King, Lord Jesus. That is in my mind and heart, but not the way the churches have taught it. Not all the churches, some of the churches. So anyway, back to this idea of this comment. So in one of the classes, one of the group studies we had, we were sitting afterwards, and we were talking, and we practiced meditation together. One would do a guided meditation, and we would just sit. And one of the guys that was there, he pointed out that God is in your imagination. And initially it struck me as a little bit offensive. But it's true. Every thought and idea comes through our imagination. So of course, we're going to find God in our imagination. But through the gift of imagination into the path, you take the infinite of ideas, and then we have this logic and reasoning as well. And so you apply these ideas and logic and reasoning, and then you start finding the evidence, which is how the world works. We've got the world we live in is completely backwards. Okay, because if you believe something, that's what you're going to find for the most part. It's this world, this life you and I are living, it is a create your own reality. You get to do whatever you want with what reality brings up for you, wherever you go. Now, reality is outside of you. Reality is inside of you. So where do you look? Where do you go? There's no escape. And yet, there's no prison. What do you escape from if you never were? And if you never were trapped, that means you're free. And we are free. And we've got a guest here in the back who, based on the comments I'm glancing at in the chat, I'm not thinking this is a good idea. So snafu, not going to happen today. Thank you for clicking the link, but you are one of those who will not be joining my panel, especially since you ignored my text messages. You called me, but you didn't communicate with me. So we can practice communicating offline, Snafu. And then when I see that you're more agreeable with me, you'll be welcome back, probably as a friend. But for those who are just tuning in, I'm speaking to a guest in the back who is no longer in the back. Swintons, thank you. And this, I considered charging, and I know there's fair rates that could be charged. But I'll tell you honestly, if someone is interested in trying to explore my knowledge for the purpose of their own self-development, their own success, if you want to work with me and you can share respect for our time, that is all I ask. Because I trust once you do see some forward progress and momentum, and you see if you get anything, any of the results, depending on your goal. I achieved my goal. My goals were internal, but I know men and women, blessings they have achieved. We have a much more welcome guest, a true friend, and I don't know what else to say. Rose, thank you. Welcome.
Hello, Jack. I like the necklace. I like the shirt. I like the ponytail.
How
The
about the beer?
the beard's okay. I would take off more, but that's just me. No,
All right. I was
black.
thinking the same thing, actually.
I'll take
Sorry
what
to
I
interrupt.
can get. Uh, the only thing is the curtain. I think maybe it should just be all red. And you said it was inconvenient to be back up against it, so just enjoy yourself. It's good
Thank
enough.
you. Thank you. Ooh, holy cows. Thank you. That was perfect because it's exactly opposite of where I started at. Right? I pointed out that good enough, it can create a comfort zone. That comfort, I didn't go all into this, but good enough can prevent great from emerging. But the other side of that, there's so many of us who have these standards of perfection. If we're going to do something, it's got to be perfect. And then we stress and we worry and we overplan. But you know what? Sometimes good enough is perfect, because good enough lets you move forward, right? I've had so many problems that I've half-assed solved, but I at least got past that and got to move forward into other things. Sometimes I got to go back and fix it better, but um, but yes, good enough, it can work both ways. And it is good enough. Thank you, Rose.
I'm really glad that you became addicted to New Orleans because I would very much be interested in you becoming a person that just is a fixture of the French Quarter, where you have a studio apartment and you go out every day and you have a look. You have not like a costume, but a recognizable look, and you're holding a big sign. And then you also have like a QR code on some kind of basket that has something in it. And I just have a vision of you being able to exist there based on that existence for a period of time.
Yes.
Hopefully, you know, and then you leave out of your own free will to the next adventure. But that does seem like I would find that very, very entertaining. And you would be meeting so many people that you would be learning so much to see how they respond to your vision and your goals.
Well, I see myself back in New Orleans, and maybe I'll have a place there as well, because travel is in my future. And here we've got another guest, and I don't know if I've met him yet, but I'm curious. I want to bring him up. Welcome, Brick. How are you, my friend?
Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. Have we met? Huh.
A drive-by hi, but it was nice. It was so nice.
It was.
Next
It
drive-by
was.
I've ever seen. Maybe he didn't mean to leave.
That's possible too.
You don't
He
know
was.
who that was at all?
I don't.
He seems so professional with a logo and everything.
I
Who is
agree.
that man?
Like I
Maybe
said, I was curious.
shameless plug, perhaps. We've created and we're enabling the curiosity. So hopefully, kudos to him.
It could have been anything. You know, this life we're living, I've chosen, I constantly do seek magic. I think it's because I spent so much of my life believing that it wasn't real. But I've heard so many testimonies. I've studied, and the stuff I've studied, it's shown to work. It's the world we live in is completely backwards. We are supposed to be living as though this is a magical experience. Miraculous, in fact. And I'm pretty sure that's what's been shown to me. Hey, we've got him back here.
Oh, okay, great. And then I have another thing I want to discuss with you.
Please. Welcome back, Brick.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes my Wi-Fi router cuts out on me, and it literally just at that very moment. Yeah. Hey, it is what it is. So, no, I've seen you around, and this is my first opportunity to say hello. You know.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Seemed like a good opportunity as any. You know.
Do
I
you
travel.
stream?
I don't stream.
Okay.
I mean, I have a channel that I produce for. It's not my channel. I'm trying to build that one, but mostly I do First Amendment content. But I'm trying to move into the educational stuff. But no, I've seen you on some of the panels, and I know I've seen you on flows and a few other places.
Yes.
And then of course your channel, which I've been subscribed to for quite some time, and really do enjoy your perspective, your content, your demeanor, your outlook on life. I appreciate your vision for belief. There's a lot of really great qualities that you have, brother. You know,
Thank you,
and
friend.
and I didn't want to like get into the chat section too much or the comment section too much because I love doing panels.
You're in the right spot then. I'm grateful you're here. And the buttering up, that helps too, of course. But appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You did mention something that I really kind of it just like it's like, yeah, that's a thing. You mentioned something about escape.
Yes.
Probably like 4 or 5 minutes ago. Said something about escape. You said that we're in this mindset to try to escape from this reality. And that's so true. And it's really not necessary. We're here. We're where we should be. This is where we should be. And I feel like a lot of it is that people haven't found themselves in a place of peace. And there's a lot of reasons why. And so, again, just having someone like yourself doing your streaming, not trying to butter up too much, but you really do put out a perspective that people, in my opinion, can really benefit from. So I appreciate it.
Brick, I'll tell you, man to man, genuinely, I appreciate that. This we're all living through some very, very interesting times of history, and faith, the spiritual part of life. Honestly, I didn't give it any thought. Very little thought. I gave it very little thought for the majority of my life. But now that I've kind of gotten into it, it's like the only thing that makes sense to me now. And you know what? Your encouragement, because we haven't met, it's a new reassurance for me. And that you don't, I'm telling you, that really does help my spirit. Okay. So thank you.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah. I try to do that with folks, you know, and regardless of whether it's my first chance meeting or we've known each other for 10 years, I really try to do.
I'm assuming his connection went out again. Rose, if
Yeah,
you're
that's too
there,
bad.
please.
Yeah. He seemed like a very nice gentleman, and it's such a fresh, it's just wonderful. It's wonderful to have someone here who's encouraging you and optimistic. And it doesn't mean that we don't discuss the obstacles. Like, for example, I was interested, I don't know if you want to discuss this, but if you are open to it, we could talk about how weird it was that I thought I was introducing you to someone that you'd be two peas in a pod. And in hindsight, you can understand why I may have thought that it would be a good connection, but it didn't work out. And I don't want to say anything, I don't want to go too deep into it, but what a trip, man. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's so weird because literally both of those times the Wi-Fi itself didn't show cutting off, but it just literally just kicked me. It's so weird. But hey, that's electronics for you. That's this Wi-Fi stuff. I don't know.
You know, it's life. Life has all these little quirks and mysteries.
Yeah.
As long as we can flow, right? Just flowing with it. And Brick, you're showing up at a perfect time. Back to what you said earlier, right? Accepting that we are where we're meant to be. There's no other place we should be other than exactly where we are. Coming to terms with that can be tough. Why? I can only assume it's divine, because it shouldn't be tough, but it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it has something to do with choice. The way we're created. I mean, it's still, it's one of those unknown things, you know. Sure, there's some things that I know, like a rock is a rock.
Right.
Okay. But I don't know why. I don't know why it is.
Exactly. I know that I am me, but I don't know why I am. And that bothered me for a long time, because I didn't know, why am I here? Why am I here? Well, what I had to accept is I'm where I am because I made choices that brought me to where I was. But here, to put this in example, there was several times in my life where I think I kind of woke up, right? I woke up at one point in the military and I was like, what in the fuck am I doing here? And I had to accept, oh yeah, I made these choices. Here I am. And then another time later in life, I woke up and I was like, why am I here? Here's what I realized. I lacked a purpose. How we get to choose our purpose, and our purpose can change. But I had grown afraid of change. I was I was afraid to live.
Yeah. Humans
You know,
do that.
it's because we were conditioned to survive. That's what I realized. Surviving is not living. A focus on survival teaches us how to cope. And coping has put people like Donald Trump and Joe Biden in the White House. So I say, let's stop coping.
Mm,
Back to where I was going with this, prick. You're showing up at a perfect time. I
great.
don't know. I don't know where you're at, but my purpose, real life, I want to build a team. And if there's talents that can be helpful, time, energy, ideas, all are welcome.
Yeah.
The thing is, we'll figure it out together as far as what needs to be done. But
Yeah.
I'm serious about this. I made the goal to speak with Donald Trump by tomorrow, but unless God puts a hand in this, I don't see how I'm gonna get it done. So it doesn't end the goal, though. I think it'd be fun. Let's build a team of people, Americans, right? Ideally Americans, and let's find a way to get the U.S. government attention so we can. I want to bring peace into D.C. See, there's been a lot of fighting, particularly with this big, beautiful bill they keep licking about. Um,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of fighting between the Republicans and the Democrats, and I'd like to go in and help remind them how to communicate with each other.
Yeah. I mean, they are the opposing teams. And so naturally, right? Um, so I have a lot of theories. Those are just theories. But naturally, opposing teams are going to want to oppose each other, right? And for whatever reason, it could be the littlest thing. Like, where does the sign go on the bathroom? Where does the sign go on the bathroom? Does it go here? Does it go there? And just that alone is gonna drive someone nutty who's got a reasonable mind as to why you're even arguing about something so minute. And this is what they do. And I grow more and more confused by why it is that these individuals in these positions would want that I don't know, is it called strife or
Yeah. He left again. He dropped.
Well,
Where?
I was
Go ahead, please.
talking to our poll in the chat. Put their CC Alex Stein. So I don't know if you talked about Alex Stein.
I did.
You talked about him? Okay. So I think that if you were hired by Alex, like as one of his minions, just to get your foot in the door, he would use you as like a man on the street with a microphone and a camera guy. And then you would be spreading your message of peace to people walking by in different places. And then he would have like a peace meter on the stage, and every time you were talking to people, you'd see the peace meter going up or down if the people were on board with you or not.
Okay, interesting. You took it to where I could get it.
Oh, okay. All right, but we can move on. I mean, I tell you lots of ideas all the time. That was just one.
Well, initially, I've seen Alex Stein and his antics on the street. He is a character. I got respect for him, but I don't do what he does. if I did it in my own way, and like you said, we could still have fun with it and have a peace meter. I tried recording. Well, I did record. I don't know if the audio came through. I hope it did. I had a very interesting conversation earlier today with some very, very proud Americans. He dropped out. Where Brick had been talking about when people disagree and they compete and argue over the stupidest things. He mentioned the sign on the bathroom. I remember literally in the demilitarized zone between North Korea, South Korea, there's a set of buildings and a set of tables there where they do actual negotiations in. And the parties between the U.S. and North Korea and South, I don't remember all the flags. Let me not misspeak. I do remember that there was like a pissing match between the parties over whose flag was taller, whose flag was bigger, and all this stuff. So it's in our nature. People will fight over the stupidest things, especially if they think they're doing good.
Absolutely. That's why it's really, people start to get annoying when they become like married to their mission and they're hyper focused and obsessed on this one thing that they have to do. And then nothing else anyone talks about matters.
Rose, that focus, it's maybe off context of what you were saying, but that is what we do. We ignore the world once we start focusing on our plan or our idea or our fight or our problem. The rest of the world just fades away.
Don't you think that was part of the problem with the meeting that I tried to create, where he was unwilling to see your path and you were trying to show him that there was an opportunity? And then he got defensive because he wanted you to know that he was fine and that he didn't need an opportunity. And I only just wanted you guys to be friends. So it was a very interesting transaction that occurred with no results.
I can accept full responsibility on that. And so, just so others might know, Rose mentioned it, that there was an introduction made, and I guess I brought up business maybe too soon, and exactly what you were saying. We had the opportunity to be friends because we actually align with an awful lot of things. But Brick, welcome back.
Welcome.
Yeah. I went ahead and did the Wi-Fi off and then turn it back on. So if it doesn't work this time, I'll do like the computer shutdown and then come back. I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, I'll throw the invitation out. If you're interested in talking after this, we've met.
Yeah.
You're welcome to however you want. Okay.
Okay.
The invitation is there for people who want. If you want support and you think I can help you get clarity in yourself, I'm willing to do that. If you want to join and try and help me achieve what I want, please, all are welcome, invited to join.
Yeah.
Because this idea, I've been thinking about this earlier. I have really done a poor job of explaining what it is I'm trying to do. But at the same time, it's kind of like this example that Rose was talking about. People, all of us, we all have this tendency within ourselves. We are literally our own worst enemy. There is no enemy outside of us that can do as much damage as ourselves. I've witnessed people over and over and over denying what I felt was a blessing, right? Never, and I've said this repeatedly, nobody ever in my life ever pulled me aside or said to me, hey, Jack, I got some ideas. We can end wars and bring some reforms. You want to join? No. Nobody ever said, hey, Jack, I got a real easy job for you, and I'm willing to compensate you very handsomely. You want to make a couple of calls and make some good money? Nobody ever did that for me. But I've been doing that for years. It's the wildest thing. I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, my life is one of many. There are lives being lived, stories far more dramatic, far more successful, probably far more value to be found if you tune into them. But we're living through an interesting time in history.
It's very interesting. I don't know how much you've spoken about the details of your adventures today. Were you going to get into that? Because I think I have to go in a few minutes, but I would like to hear you talk about it, and then you might just see me disappear
Wonderful.
as you're talking about it. Is that okay?
Of course. And thank
Okay.
you, as always, for joining.
All right.
I didn't go too much into the details, but figuring that my goal was set for tomorrow, I felt I should do everything I could think of, and I've emailed and messaged people I thought could be helpful. So I headed down to DC today, took the rail, and ran into one of the activists I met the first day I got down there. But most of the Capitol was fenced off. According to the Capitol Police, it was for rehearsals for tomorrow's celebration. Apparently, they're going to have a band and some sort of celebration at the Capitol, and I imagine that could be fun. But it was all fenced off, so couldn't really get up to the buildings. I spent some time with others. There was a small crowd and a lot of well-armed police at the gate. And so as some of the men came out in suits, they were asked, hey, Special K, goodbye. You're another one, lady. You are another piece of work, Special K. You were one who was brought into my life. I was kind, I was generous, and look at you. I accepted that you didn't want to speak with me because you never said anything, you never responded, you just stopped talking. So Special K. The interesting thing is, and tell you what, the interesting thing is, I've been saying there's something unique, something different, it seems, happening in my life. This prior conversation that Rose and I were just having, where there was an introduction and then all of a sudden feelings and I get pushed away. That's literally been what people have been doing to me since I found God. People have been pushing me away. Not really making sense. People have been attacking me too. Not physically, well, it's been an interesting story. Brothers and sisters, I believe I'm trying to pause myself because I don't know what I believe. I know what I know. I believe God is, well, it all comes down to God. And I'm stumbling over my words, and I'm sorry if I'm not making sense, but I've said these things so many times already. And I don't really like repeating myself, but yet I do. I'm confident that in the near or distant future, we will be looking at this time of history, or future generations will be looking back at this time of history, and it'll be recognized as the time that God is fulfilling prophecy. The separation of the wheat and the tare. The ego death for everyone. That's my prediction. And my predictions have often failed, but it seems to me that that is the logical path of progression for mankind. And according to the prophecies from various cultures, various traditions, it's anticipated that it gets worse before it gets better, but that when it gets better, it's a lot better. So let's help that to happen. Change is a part of life. Let's stop holding on to past excuses. Let's stop holding on to past limitations. And let's not let anything stop us from living out the best life that we can. Because every day we get to start again. It's a glorious design and adventure. This life is. The key to all of this that I've learned, and I'm going to wrap it up here. I think I'll wrap it up here pretty soon. Interesting. I thought I hit K. It's very, very simple, and it was mentioned in this stream, and I've tried pointing it out in many different ways, but the path of being, the way a human is designed, man or woman, we are designed to be. And as you are being, you are in full control of you when you're aware and when you're paying attention and when you're conscious and when you're intentional and when you have a purpose for what you are doing. If you move just based on reaction, just based on schedule, telling yourself, I have to, they have to, you're wrong. They get to, you get to. We all get to live. We were born into a world that humans have been living wrong. Don't live wrong. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do, but if you've heard the name Jesus, then you should know what to do. You live with faith. You live with love. You lead and offer and encourage forgiveness. You share trust, not distrust, not fear, not anger, not all this negative stuff, man. I'm looking at some of these comments. Hey, thank you. I hope everyone does enjoy their weekend and celebrate. If you celebrate the Independence Day, celebrate and be safe, right? We're born into human. Humans are fascinating and amazing. And here's another one back. Welcome back.
One last time, before it cuts me off again, because it very well may, I'll say, peace is the end of all matters. So no matter what, no matter how it ends.
Thank you, Brick. You brought the right words. And I guess this particular moment, the conversation wasn't meant to be. But Brick, I do hope you reach out to me later, email, text, whatever. And actually, for others as well, I do love this. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm hearing fireworks going off. I'm sure it's fireworks. And you know what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what tomorrow will bring. But should we rise and gather again tomorrow, and should the inspirations that I hope find me If I receive inspirations again tomorrow and things align, I do intend to return. But I'm going to keep it short, keep it sweet. I want to really thank all who showed up. Rose, Brick, it was wonderful to meet you. And there was others, I think. I'm going to go from there. The idea, just parting ideas, and I don't know if I ever concluded the thought. As a being, practice not doing. Practice just being, as the sun bees, right? The sun is, and it shines brightly. And in its shine, in its light, the world is alive. Allow that likeness to be with you, right? And then you can also take the likeness of the one of Christ, Jesus. Allow that to be you. The key is to be still in your mind. Practice non-thinking. Practice listening. Truly, if you listen within you and you seek within you, go into the dark spots of you, the sadness, the discomfort, the irritating ideas that you haven't resolved. Go deep into those. Press into the darkness, knowing that you're safe. I mean, it's only you, right? You don't want to hurt anyone. You're not going to hurt you. Go in to you with the darkness to find the darkness, shining your light of awareness into you and see what you find. Here's a hint. Look for the love. Because with the love, then you find the evidence of God. And the evidence of God, once you find that love, it's addictive and you never, ever want to leave it again. But life goes on. And I'm going to wrap it up there. Sincerely, thank you again to all of you. Till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all. Peace.